Hey, hello, and welcome to another solo edition of Freshly Popped. Today I'll be talking about Disclosure Day. Full transparency, however, I saw this film a few weeks ago, so my recollection of specific plot points or specific narrative beats is a bit hazy at this point. But essentially it's a sci-fi thriller about cybersecurity, otherworldly beings, and government cover-ups. What I was struck by most watching this film was being reminded of how incredible Steven Spielberg is as a filmmaker. I feel as though there's a very specific quality to his work that I always respond to quite favourably. I think it probably goes without saying that he is a master of his craft, and this film is really no exception. So what I want to talk about first is how there's this common school of thought, right, that the workings of a film should be almost invisible, that how a film is made and constructed shouldn't draw too much attention. The idea is that audiences will forget that they're watching a film and, lose themselves in the story. What I love about Steven Spielberg films, however, is how the filmmaking is unashamedly at the forefront, and yet still it doesn't detract from the experience of the story. Something I've realised more clearly recently is how my love of film is rooted more in the filmmaking. You might notice with prior reviews that Little Cheeky is very much interested in the story and the meaning within the story. But I enjoy seeing creativity in filmmaking expressed in how shots are constructed. For example, how the camera moves and how we transition from one sequence to the next. His approach to filmmaking feels elevated and always purposeful. And as I say, the creativity that he utilizes is always impressive to me. Specific story beats are a bit hazy to me at this point, but I vividly remember a sequence where a car carrying our two main characters is being forced onto train tracks as a train passes at speed. Spielberg utilizes incredibly dynamic camera angles, camera movements, and rapid edits to build the sequence. No tension or excitement is lost, but you really feel the presence of the camera. It's firmly part of the scene. Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor give excellent performances. Blunt in particular delivers a multifaceted performance that I feel is ultimately integral to the film's success. Had Emily Blunt's performance been less dynamic, then perhaps the film wouldn't have been quite the success that it is. She really propels the story forward, offering real emotional depth. Another thing I appreciated about the film was how most of what the government is concealing is also hidden from us as the audience. Sometimes you watch films where the audiences are privy to more or too much, but I felt with this film that we had been shown just enough to follow the narrative, but they were always referencing these suppressed materials, which we hadn't seen, or at least I don't think we had seen any. We had experienced them through audio and through the reactions of other characters, but we hadn't actually seen the media in question until the very end of the film. So to me, it felt as though we as the audience knew little more than one of the characters living within this version of reality. When the truth is finally revealed in the closing moments of the film, and we see the suppressed media, it seems to have a greater impact because of this, because of the way that it was also hidden from us. So in that sense, I felt more a part of the film. When we finally saw the material, it also felt almost cathartic, like we had been building and building and building towards this moment, and when it finally happened, there was something quite special about that. And as I say, weirdly, it felt more real. The material was shown to us via monitors, so as they were broadcasting it, we saw it. Well, I'm sure we saw it in various different ways, but there was something that felt real about those moments, like, oh, this is happening. I'm part of this world. I'm experiencing this moment with these people in this universe. This was a really great film. I'm sure that I'll rewatch it again at some point. I just love Spielberg. I think he's so fantastic. They reissued Jaws not so long ago, and it's just one of those films that you almost forget how fantastic it is. I don't care about the rubbery shark, but they're so good. Final rating on this, I'm probably going to give it a 4. A film has to be particularly special to get a 5 from me. As I say, Spielberg continues to make incredible films, and this is no exception. I want to say particularly go and see it at the cinema. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to join me for the next one. I've got a few more lined up, solo and otherwise. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, comment, all that stuff. And I'll see you next time.